All right, welcome today. Today we're going to learn how to draw using lines. So if you think about how a 3D printer works, it creates a layer of plastic, moves up a little bit, and then creates a slightly different shaped layer of plastic. And as it does that, it can move up and create some really cool, interesting shapes. The same thing can be done with VEX code, but it can be done with lines. So we're going to make a filled in triangle, a solid color triangle, using lines to draw each layer on the way up. So the triangle we're going to try and draw is the one on the screen. I've already marked all of its positions. So the top of the triangle is at 250, 50. The lower left corner is at 50, 200. And then the lower right corner is at 350, 200. So the way we'll start doing this is we'll draw a first line right here along the bottom. We'll move up 1 pixel, move the left X in to the right a little bit, move the right X in to the left a little bit, and then draw another line. And just keep going up, drawing lines back and forth until we get to the very top of it. So one thing we can notice here is that our Y values are going from 200 to 50. So going from 200 up to 50, and that's a total of 150 lines. So this triangle is made of 150 individual lines. So let's give it a shot. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my draw. First, I'm going to save my project. So I'm going to call this Josh H. Call it your name, and then drawing with lines. Awesome. Now I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a line, throw it on my screen, and I want to be able to control all 4 of these. So I'm going to go down here and make some variables. So I'm going to call this X1 and Y1. X1 is going to be in the lower left corner. X2 is going to be in the lower right corner. So I'm going to make 4 variables here. I'm going to make an X1 position, a Y1 position, X2 position, and again I'm capitalizing the P in position so that it pops from the other part of the word, and a Y2 position. Awesome. And then I'm just going to throw all these variables into where the variables are. So here, X1, that's X2, that's Y1, that's Y2. All right, so those are all in and I'm ready to rock and roll. I just need to start changing stuff. So first thing first though, I need to create a loop because I'm going to be doing this. And remember, I've got to draw 150 of these lines to get from 200 to 50. So I'm going to do this 150 times. And I need to set some starting values. So I have all these variables, they all start at 0, so this will start in the top left-hand corner on top. It should be a mess. We need to actually set some values. So set my value. I'm just going to Control-C-V and whoops, didn't want to do that. Grab another set my value and just pop them in. So all 4. I'm going to do them in order, so X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Probably the most common mistake with this coding is people forget to set their variables. I've done it a few times in the videos. It just happens. So my first one, my X1 should be 50 and then 200. So 50 tab, 200. My X2 is 350 and the Y is still 200. So now I have my starting values. That's going to draw that first line right in the right place. And maybe I'm going to pick a color for my triangle. So I'm going to come back up here and set the pin color right there to yellow. I like yellow. All right, so now I've got 150 lines with the exact same locations right on top of each other. That's not going to work particularly well. So let's start doing some changes. The first one I'm going to do is I'm going to do a change my variable. And I know after I draw the first line, I want to move up a row. And remember, moving up on the y-axis means getting to a smaller number. So I'm going to change the y1 position by a -1. That will move me up 1 row of pixels. And I need to also change my variable. I'm noticing now though that my y1 and y2 will never be different, but I'm going to put two of them in there. I could just take out this y2 and put another y1 in over here because it will always be the same. But maybe in the future I would want them to be different, so I'm just going to say set my variable, change my variable, and I'm going to do the other y position, and it's also going to be a -1. All right, so first thing it does, it draws this first line at these coordinates, and then it moves the y's up one row. And now I need to move the x's in. So my left x over here needs to move into the right, which means its number is going to get bigger, so I need to add a positive change to it. The one on the right is going to move to the left, which means it's got to have a negative change put into it. So I'll put both of those up there real quick. So I'll do change my variable and another change my variable. I will make this one x1 and this one x2. In fact, I'm going to move these two up above the y's because I think it makes more sense for me to have him here than here because these will never change. So the x1 is on the left. It's going to move to the right, so that's a positive. This one needs to be a negative value, so -1. Let's go ahead and just draw this and see what happens. So I'm going to download this and run it. Awesome. But I don't think I got the triangle I wanted. I got an isosceles triangle, and I want this sort of lopsided triangle. So yay for me so far, but not quite there yet. So to do this, I need to figure out how steep to make the sides. Notice I made them each 1 and -1, so they're the same slope here going up. But I want this one where it's steeper on this side than on this side. So here's how it's interesting. This side has to have a bigger x change. It needs to move over more each time than this side does. To figure out exactly how much, here's how we do it. We know we have 150 lines to get from 50 all the way up to 250. So, take this away. I need to move to the right 200 lines in 150 lines of NY. So on this side, I've got to move over 200, from 50 to 250 is 200 over, and I've got to do that in 150 lines. If I do this math, I get 1.33. So that's what I need to put in there for my x, my x1. I need to go 1.33 for x1. Now if I download this and run it, you get this weird little thing on top. And that's because the right-hand side is coming in too fast. I need to slow it down. So on the right-hand side, I look at this and I say, I have 150 lines going up. And in that time, I need to go from 350 to 250. So I have 100 lines in the X, or 100 pixels in the X. I should say pixels, not lines. And I have 150 lines to go up. So when I do that math, 100 divided by 150 is 2/3, which is 0.666. So here for the x2, I'm going to say negative 0.666. And I'm going to download that, and I'm going to run it. And there it is. We've got that lopsided triangle we were looking for. Now, this math is necessary, so make sure you understand it. So basically what we're doing, we're saying, we know how far up we have to go. Then we just take how far over we have to go and divide it by how far up. That tells us how many x overs we have to do every single y. So this is like the number of pixels in x per line. So in this case, it's 1.33 x pixels every one line. So every one line we move up, we go over 1.33. Here, this ended up being 100 pixels divided by 150 lines. So we ended up with 0.66 pixels every time we move up, moving this way, which is negative. I know that's a lot, it's kind of crazy, but that is a cool way to be able to get any shape of triangle you want. Awesome. So yeah, let's before we leave off here, we've got it pretty much the code done. Let's add some comments so later on we'll know what we're doing. So I'm going to grab a comment block here, and then right up here I'm going to just say sets the starting coordinates for the first line. Okay, and then that sets the line, the color of the triangle, and then this next one draws the first line along the flat, well, along the bottom. Or vertical side. Awesome. And then X position, Y position. Okay, that does that. And then one more comment, two more comments. We're going to put one here and says moves the left and right X values. Calculate by dividing the X pixels by the number of lines. And I'm going to grab this, I'm going to copy and paste that, throw away what I don't need, and then grab this one. I guess I don't need this one actually. Let me throw that one away too. Let me get a new comment, and then moves the line up one row. Now, you could also do this triangle where it was pointed down. You just need to change the Y's a positive and negative. Start the top instead of the bottom, so that would change your starting values. You could also do a side opening, which would mean that you would do the X, you would start on, so a side opening triangle might look like this, where you have sort of there's a vertical side, but there's no horizontal sides, but there is a vertical side. And you would start with this line, and you'd move X over one each, and you'd figure out how to move Y up and down, depending on what you want to do. So this would be a more advanced sort of look at it. But give it a shot. Let me know how that works for you, and good luck with it.